Hey everybody, I'm here to talk about a subject everyone calls homelessness, but honestly, that word oversimplifies the problem. My research on Birmingham reveals the crisis isn't just about a lack of buildings, it's a profound failure of system design. If you've ever dealt with a truly terrible university portal or customer service line, you know the frustration. Now multiply that by a fight for survival. We'll be breaking down how city services from max transit to housing intake called One Roof are actively blocking people out with bureaucratic firewalls. This presentation is about exposing those impossible prerequisites and showing that fixing the system's broken code is entirely possible. To put it simply, accessibility matters in Birmingham because we are an urban city that doesn't have our resources in close proximity of each other. And also, the way that our systems work, you have to have an ID, you have to have reliable transportation, you have to have access to the internet. Not all homeless people will have access to all of these things, so a very few number of them fall under this category. Therefore, we need to make it more open to those who don't have the privilege or the opportunity to have these things. So this slide shows the three main barriers you have to accessibility. First is transportation. When you see this poor man, he does not have access to reliable transportation, so he has to walk near the railroad. That is extremely dangerous. Second, we have housing. The housing market in Birmingham right now is very limited and very unaffordable, therefore making it not a great option for those who are looking to have a roof over their head. Third is healthcare blockades, which is really making it difficult for those who have issues to be able to store their medication properly or to have Medicare at all. So for transportation, we have three main improvements we need to make. For the buses, particularly our bus system called Max Transit, it needs to expand its evening and weekend bus routes so that way more people can board them and use them to their advantage. We also need to work on our paratransit. For those of you who don't know what paratransit is, it's basically the same thing as a bus system, but it's more individualized and it doesn't have those fixed paths or timetables. The problem is that we need to simplify our ID requirements. It's a big issue for those who don't have access to identification. And also, we need to work with our transit social services. With these buses that do have paths and their timetables, we need to interconnect them with our shelters and with our organizations so that way we can utilize these for those people who are in need. So to fix our transportation, this is our community level solution that I came up with during our logo project. Pretend I have a really pretty logo. It's called Meals and Maps. We would basically help those who don't have those phones or that internet access. We would give them laminated resource maps that have the times of the bus routes, the shelters, the clinics, and it would just help them with their day-to-day navigation. Food is also provided. So before we talk about the solutions for our housing, let's talk about why we need to fix it. The housing shelter that we use called One Roof is heavily based on its documentation, and strict rules hinder many from being able to apply successfully, and even those who do apply are put on long wait lists and sometimes aren't even chosen. Third is our applications. Online-only processes exclude those that don't have internet access. Literally everything is on the internet whenever people have to try to apply for something, so it sounds like we need to find a better way for them to get some internet access. To top it all off, the storage of the records of those who are without a home is not safe at all. For housing, we actually have three different solutions. First is adaptive reuse, which means we would convert the vacant buildings in Birmingham into shelters or micro units. We have transitional housing, where the plan would be to partner with colleges or local churches for short-term housing, and say somebody was in the process of trying to get a lease or a loan, or just looking for a place to stay while they're house hunting, they could use this housing. Next, we have community land trusts, where a piece of land would be allotted out to a number of people. This would stop displacement and secure those long-term affordable units so people had a place to stay for a longer amount of time than, say, the transitional housing. For our healthcare, I see that it would be very beneficial if we had a mobile healthcare solution. This would basically be like what you see here, an on-the-road type clinic. Now, the increment of which it would show up would probably be based on how much it's funded, but something that comes in maybe weekly, bi-monthly, something like that, where it occurs just enough if somebody had something that wasn't an emergency, it could be checked out. It would be very beneficial for people to have access to this care. Finally, let's talk about our mental health. Homelessness is high trauma, but the mental health system is designed for people with consistent addresses and working phones. Accessing the support that they need often requires online intake or scheduled appointments, and many unhoused people cannot manage this. We should integrate mental health care into the spaces that people already occupy. So this means that we should do it directly in shelters, do walk-up counseling, and use partnerships like UAB's social work program to ensure consistency. When behavioral health support is easy, it increases the chance for long-term stability. So with coordinated effort, not just by me and you, but also it would have to be through the city, we could expand transportation access, streamline housing pathways, integrate mobile and mental health care. We can significantly reduce long-term homelessness. While we can't make legislation or have an enormous amount of funds to fix these issues in our city, you can still help. Make sure to volunteer at your local shelters, organize or be a part of drives for non-perishable and easy store medications or food, of course, and then advocate for those in need. We can still make our voice loud enough to where we can tell people how these people need help and where it needs to be helped. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. I hope you learned something new, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.